That's good. Yeah, because I think, like we said at the beginning, the beauty of marriage is you kind of have that team where you lift each other up when you're kind of going through something difficult. But I think the danger of that is you can almost rely on that person to do the heavy lifting instead of like doing the things that you know you need to do to fill yourself up. Because the thing is, like, even in a team, yeah, you're going to have times like where one of you, it's not always 50-50, sometimes it's 20-80, but you want to do everything that you can so that you're bringing the best that you can to this team, because that just strengthens you, right? Like, everyone has to kind of pull their weight. Everyone has to kind of do what they need to do to make sure they're as strong as possible, because that's how you go further. And I think it's so easy to take marriage for granted. And it like, not looking after yourself, not prioritizing your well-being is taking marriage for granted. Like, that thing about filling your own cup up, I think especially for women it's important to know you can like give and give and give and give, and then you realize, like, I have nothing left to give, thinking you're being selfless, like cleaning the house, looking after the babies. But actually, when you're not pouring back into yourself, that starts leaking into your marriage, right? It means you can't be a good teammate. So take that time to fill yourself up. Take that time to make sure you're not neglecting your own well-being, because that's going to allow you to, when your partner is feeling weaker, you're able to pour back into them. And heck, when you're both feeling strong, you're able to run in that season, because you kind of have that fortification. So I think the point there is leverage the gift of teamwork, in that if you're feeling weak, you know you have someone to pick yourself back up, but don't rest on that and don't rest on that and, not take the time to fill yourself back up, because you've got someone that's picking you up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I guess maybe the other point to add to what you said is, because we're talking about navigating hard times.
Yeah.
And I think, maybe for some people hearing that, it might mean navigating a particular event that's maybe happened recently, or maybe happened, for example, for us, we've experienced grief and loss, and we've experienced, having a baby and the challenges around that in the recent future. But I think it can also be about navigating trauma, right? Things that happened way before the marriage, during upbringing. And I think, some of the practical things that have helped us is stepping into therapy, for example.
Right.
Like, therapy is something that I always talked about and joked about with my friends, my boys. But it was only until marriage when I actually took those steps and realized that actually having this safe space to process is allowing me to show up better as a husband or a father. And I guess practically for anyone, because therapy isn't universally accessible, it could just look like journaling, just look like speaking to a trusted friend or a mentor, but just creating that space, not just to process the big emergency event that happened yesterday, but also the stuff that could be lingering and making you show up a little bit less than your best version.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And also I think important to note that, like, what prioritizing your well-being will look different in different seasons. So you will have seasons where you've got the time to go to therapy, you've got the time to spend an hour in the morning, like, doing your journaling, doing your devotional. And there will also be seasons where maybe you're short on time, or mentally it's just hard to pour back into yourself. So there are even little things that make such a difference. Like, I remember after we had our daughter Malika, I didn't have postpartum anxiety or depression, but I think every single woman will go through a shift that's just difficult to kind of navigate. And I had some really hard days, and on those days prioritizing my well-being just looked like taking a shower, like making sure before I did like anything for the baby, I like took a shower, or it just looked like making sure we got out and had some sunlight. So it doesn't have to be huge things. Like, therapy is amazing and we definitely advocate for that, but don't be discouraged, like, if you're not in a position to go the whole 9 yards with prioritizing your well-being. Like, even a little bit goes a long way, and it kind of gives you that momentum so that when you are in a position to kind of do the bigger things for your well-being, you're able to do.